Hello and welcome to the Sometimes Serious Sunday show, the show that will probably, on Philip's command, one day be killed, where we just decide to talk about random stuff and do housekeeping. Naturally, I'm joined by Philip Edwards, as is usual, and he's got a nice little update for us. I say nice, it's not a nice topic, but it's an update nonetheless.
Yeah, figured we should, at least keep people. I wanted to say abreast of the situation, but even that's wrong.
Oh, that's a
Keep
bit,
people
yeah,
informed of the
yes.
situation with the what's a nice way of saying it? Nah, they don't deserve nice. The rape company. Um, Eve Gilmo, Eve Guillotine, MOT, Eve Guillemot, Yves Guillemot, that douche. He
Yep,
was asked
him.
in a financial call as a financial analyst that on one of the developer calls actually presented the question to I could present this directly quoting here. I could present the question on what's happened recently as three options. Either a CEO, you didn't know this was happening, which was not great, or you perhaps didn't know enough and should have asked more. Maybe that's the answer. Or you knew, which of course would not be good. Those are my possibilities. You may answer the question differently, but I'd like to ask what would be the answer to your question of responsibility as CEO? And Yves Guillemot, whatever
By
his
any
name is,
chance, was the answer so French that everyone just immediately gained a baguette?
to be fair, in part of the answer he said something unintelligible, so it could have been oui 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 baguette baguette for all we
Okay, fair
know.
enough.
His response was, each time we've been made aware of this conduct, we have made actually tough decisions, and we made sure those decisions had a clear and positive impact. So that's very important. It's now become clear that certain individuals I placed the trust, certain individuals betrayed the trust I placed in them and did not live up to the Ubisoft shared values. And then he said something unintelligible. I have never compromised on my core values and ethics and never will. I will continue to run and transform Ubisoft to face today's and tomorrow's challenges. So he knew.
Can I? I was going to say the difficult choices bit. What's so difficult about it? Suspend pending investigation, investigate, fire. That's it. That's the entire procedure. What is difficult about it?
Oh, but you see,
Nothing.
this guy's been with me for a while and he is kind of my buddy. And yeah, sure, women have proved that he's drunkenly strangled them and he's been drugging them and he's been inappropriately touching them and he's been doing worse things to them. But he's my buddy, so that's going to be really difficult. I can safely say
No.
if it ever comes out that one of us has done something horrific like that, it won't because we've
Yeah,
never done
it
anything like
won't.
that. But if it did, there would be an immediate okay, we're looking into it, and then if we find out it's factually accurate and go bang, yeah, it's true, yeah, you're fucking gone. You are gone out the window, son.
Oh yes.
You're fired quicker than you can turn around to blink. It's over. It's done. There's no there's no debate about
Yeah.
that, surely.
There's no way that we would allow the other one to resign.
No.
There's no way. It would be an outright fire. You're not getting another job because, quite frankly, you cannot work in a place with other people.
Yeah. It's not acceptable that they've been allowed to resign. Screw you. You should absolutely be fired on the spot, no
Yep,
questions.
that should be a permanent stain on your record.
Yeah, that's the only update for the rape company currently.
Well, it's an update nonetheless. But going from one form of absolute trash, I will say trash. We're not in the safe zone yet. To another form of absolute trash. Although I would like to start this by saying it's only trash because it doesn't feel like it had any love put into it. And this is a discussion that Philip and I were going to have about Bethesda. However, we thought it might be a good idea to have you, the listeners, involved in this conversation. And while you can't respond to us, you can certainly type in comments or what have you. At least we can talk between ourselves with you listening, that hopefully we can either make you, I say make you, help you make your own thoughts, form them on this topic. Maybe we're going to open your eyes to some of just how awful what we're going to talk about is, or maybe you're going to be standing there being Bethesda's valiant defender. Either way, as we have said before over the past, what, 3, 4 recordings we've done, we've been playing a lot of Fallout 76. Unfortunately, it's more sort of we've been forcing ourselves, and I know a lot of people won't get that. A lot of people would think, but why? If it's that bad, just stop playing. It's kind of a point of pride with both of us that we get at least as much G as we are comfortable with getting in a game. And unfortunately, there's no way to take away the game score off your account and just say, hey, I don't want that game on my list. Because we've both played games where we'd be happy just going, I really don't want people to know that I've played that, and I can't believe I've earned an achievement and left it there because, ugh. But we looked at the achievements when we knew it was coming to Game Pass, and we thought, hey, it's going to be time consuming, but it's not impossible. And who knows, we might enjoy it playing together, even if the game is objectively bad. And I think, were both taken aback by just how bad the game is. We knew it was bad. We didn't quite realise just how bad. And this sort of brought forth a topic from me where my first introduction to Bethesda games was Oblivion. And I'm pretty sure it was the same for you, wasn't it, Philip? That was the first. Yeah, that was the first Bethesda game we played. Now, naturally, we have that rose-tinted glasses look for it, but we aren't blinded by it. We can see the shortcomings of Oblivion and its DLCs. We understand why horse armor was not a widely celebrated addition to the game. Don't get me wrong, aesthetically, I loved it, but yeah, I get it. It's not really worth that amount of money, despite the fact that I bought it, but shut up. And even with all of its flaws, I do feel that Oblivion had a lot more love put into it. And okay, there were some little hidden gems that really weren't meant to be heard, like I believe it was the high elf NPC that you could hear the female voice actor say, oh wait, can I do that again? And then repeat the line that was just said. And that was pointed out to me by Philip, and I absolutely loved it when we found it, and I was like, I can't believe it. That is absolutely stellar. And it's one of those things where it's like, it shouldn't be there. But the fact that it was still there, and even after all the patches where they must have known about it, they left it there. And they left it there because they knew people had that sort of, oh, yes, I got that. Found it again. They knew about the duplication glitch. That's a guaranteed. They never got rid of it. Or they didn't know how to. I'd like to say that the team behind the game never got rid of it because they knew how much people liked it. Because there was no aspect of the game that would affect anyone else other than you, the player. And so you wanted to do that to yourself, you wanted to make your game like that, then fine, go for it. And that I would like to think that was their outlook, but obviously it could have just been, hey, we don't know how to fix it, so it's staying there. And let's face it, we've all seen videos on YouTube where people are like, I'm going to duplicate a bunch of cabbages, and it would just be a tidal wave of cabbages rolling down a hill, or it would be so slow it'd suddenly crash the game. And while we all find these amusing, the game had its good points. So it had a much better storyline, in my opinion, than Skyrim and Fallout 4, because Fallout 4 and Fallout 3 were the same thing, but just sort of role reversed. And they're very safe ones, those two. And Skyrim was very, oh, so predictable. I'm sure that storyline has been done in films. But when it came to 76, you could see that they just didn't care. They didn't care at all. And just going for a Fallout versus Fallout thing, in Fallout 4, I'm going to use because it's the one that's more easily recalled to in my memory, because obviously I've played it more recently. You, albeit through glitchy means, could get your specials all up to 10. And in 76, they made the max 15. However, because they've also made 76 sort of like an MMO, but they haven't really properly leaned into it, they've gone for builds. But even then, having a 15 cap on any singular special stat is not enough. It's not enough to really lean into a build. We're both going power armor, heavy weapons build. And the amount of XP, if we want to rebuild for something completely different that we would need to get, is more work than we're both willing to put in. If I remember rightly, Philip, you're at the stage where you just need to kill the Scorchbeast Queen and do a couple of other things like kill players and that to get the original 1,000.
Yeah, but I'll probably do
I'm
Wastelanders.
I'm a significant chunk behind because I haven't done all the hey, you've completed this quest, you've completed this quest ones, because honestly, they've been so uninspiring that I don't care. And yet, you throw me into an older game like Oblivion, I will go and do the side quests. I will go do the faction quests because I cared. I enjoyed them. I remember doing the Dark Brotherhood quest line the first time and going, oh, I love it. I'm part of the Black Hand. And then all of a sudden, oh no, you've been sent, you've been killing other members. And, oh, what's going on? I loved that. I loved that. It was actually well thought out, and it's a shame that certain people in that quest line died because I loved them. But that was the beauty of it. It made me go, oh no, I don't want them to die. I like them as a character. Whereas in this, if you gave me complete agency, I would happily go around and kill every single NPC because I just don't care. And
I specifically remember when we first started playing, we did just walk up to NPCs like random, like, oh, I'm a settler, and we're just like, should we just kill them? Yeah, might as
yeah,
well. I mean, what's the penalty for it? Nothing. They'll
yeah,
respawn in 10 minutes.
yeah, we just don't care because they haven't bothered to care. And that does seem to be the biggest difference over time. As Philip once put it, and this was back before 76 was even released, um, it feels like Bethesda stumbled across and captured lightning in a bottle, but has absolutely no idea how to remake it. And now that we're in the safe zone, I can honestly say that 76 is so absolutely shit that I just I honestly cannot wait to stop playing it. And I know, as I've said, there'll be people who just, well, just do it then. But it's a point of pride now. I've gone and I've started. I will bloody finish this so that the next time I look at my list, I don't have to go, oh no, I'm going to have to play that at some point just to top it off. No, I want it at least the original 1000G, and then I'm happy to just basically discard it and never think about it again. I was never going to spend money to play it, which is why we only tried it when it came to Game Pass. It's so bad, but we can point out what's bad about all the previous games that Bethesda have made, but we can also point out what's good. It took, how long were we talking about it last night? What, 2.5 hours of us honestly attempting to come up with something individually that's good about 76. I
Yeah,
couldn't do
just
it.
absent any of the other trash that surrounds it, absent any of the context around it. what was good about the game, what was a good mechanic or a good thing in the game. And the only thing I could bring up was I kind of like the host for the radio station.
And I don't listen to the radio, so I couldn't even agree. My exact response was, "Yeah, I'll take your word for it."
Well, it's weird because the one thing I kind of like, then if I take any of the extra context into it, is ruined because she only has about 6 lines, and the tracks she plays are the best tracks from the other games, and they get really boring and repetitive because there's not a wide selection. So I don't listen to the radio anymore. I listen to it for maybe 3 hours, and I'd heard everything multiple times. Then I just went, okay, never listening to you again. But the host, she's got a nice voice. I like her. And that's it.
And yet you listen to was it Fallout 3 with Mad Dog?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely amazing host. Fallout 3 is, well, no, I did listen to a bit of the radio in Fallout 4, but I just did not like it as much as I loved that station in Fallout 3. And you can see that they've just declined so much. I don't know why. I don't know who's responsible. I don't know if it's a team effort or if it's just one person going, no, change it. But there's no love in this. There's a bit of love. You can see a bit of love in Skyrim, but it's nowhere near as much as Oblivion or Morrowind. And I know Morrowind has its flaws as well. I've not played as much of it as Oblivion. I can't see them all. I would actually have to go to forums and community pages to actually read more and find out the general feeling for it, or just play it more. However, most of my time is spent on the one and not on my laptop, which I could play it on. However, there was a lot more thought and love into it. And even someone born in the early 90s who never got to play the first or second Elder Scrolls games and went back and played them when the anthology released, and I was absolutely stumped the first time. I remember telling Philip the first time I played them, I was just expecting more click. I much preferred the way your character creation was done. However, the lack of adjustments afterwards is kind of what killed it for me. But I do like it, and Oblivion did seem to do a little bit of a nod to that, but without the questions. Because in the first and second Elder Scrolls, I don't know if you know, Philip, um, you actually answer a series of questions, situational questions, much like in Fallout with the goat test, is it?
Hmm.
And that's where they go, hey, we think you're this. And I think it was either in Elder Scrolls 1, it was either in Arena or Daggerfall that I got Spell Sword, which, hey, that suits me just fine. I'm more than happy with that. And in the other one, I got Rogue, but that's because I purposely answered differently just to see what I would get. Um, the lack of fine finely tuned adjustments afterwards that I was able to make is kind of a killer for me, but it was still an amazing place to start, and I still liked that. What absolutely stumped me was I was expecting more just click combat. You know, you have your sword out, you see an enemy, just click. Boy, was I wrong. I died about 3 times before I actually twigged in my head that I've got to click and swipe to swing a sword. And that blew my mind. I didn't hate it. It just took a bit of adjustment to go, there's a rat. Click, click. Oh, wait, no, I've got to click and swipe. I've got to click and swipe before it kills you. I kind of enjoyed that. And like I say, there was more love to that, and they definitely cared. They wanted it to grow. And now that it's this big, I know they want to do other IPs because they said so. I will believe them on that. And only that when they speak, because quite frankly, they at one point said that single player games are here to stay, didn't they? They had their entire video on it, if you remember. Wasn't too long ago. Sat down defending single player games. And now they just don't seem to care as much. And I don't know if you feel the same.
Well, it's been quite clear they've been making a move away from single player because just business perspective, it doesn't make that much money that they get a chunk of sales once every 3 to 4 years. Why would they keep doing that when they can run a live service product just continuously and it takes way less work and they can rake in money continuously, especially with a monthly subscription fee?
Oh, don't bring that one up. I'm not going to talk about Fallout first, other than mentioning it now, just because it's not worthy of being spoken of, and it's the first time they've done something like this. So, boy, did they get that wrong. But let's never mind that for a minute.
Well, real quick, and then I wanna jump back to the G thing. Um, they said that all of the companies under Bethesda's banner helped with 76, including ZeniMax and ZeniMax Online. ZeniMax Online runs ESO. ESO Plus is an amazing subscription, and every time I go back to play ESO, I always buy a month of ESO Plus. Always, and it's always a good deal. It's never not a good deal. It's always like £9 for a month, and I get all of this. I'm in. I'm absolutely in.
Yep, because you don't
So,
need to buy any of the DLC, do you? Once you pay for ESO Plus, you get all of the DLC after it's been released for so long.
well, all of like the smaller dungeons and stuff come instantly to ESO Plus. The big expansions like Morrowind, Elsewhere, and the latest one,
Greymore.
Greymore. Those are the ones that it takes a while to go. But all of the dungeons surrounding them go straight to ESO Plus. So it's amazing. Um, so they had that model, and they clearly tried to follow it because in ESO you get given 1,650 crowns a month. In Fallout you get given 1,650 atoms a month. Problem is the crown store is infinitely better.
It does feel better priced. Having looked at both, it does feel a lot fairer in price.
Anyway, let's jumping back to the G thing. The thing about getting all of the G, I feel like this is a discussion we've had not on stream, so I won't actually, well, not on video, so I won't actually go into it in depth. Is we talked about how much do you have to play the game to be able to actually review it.
Yeah.
I feel like getting all the G, doing that kind of gives you like, hey, I covered everything. Because the devs will put achievements for things they want the players to experience. I covered it all. I've got an incredibly comprehensive look. I'm starting to get to the point where 76 doesn't deserve that much of a comprehensive look. I feel like I've got a comprehensive look. I feel like I know everything the game has to offer, and it's all trash.
Yeah,
Kind of want to just
it's
run from it.
I mean, we when we were having this discussion, and I will bring this up briefly, is we were debating whether it was based on G or based on the amount of time played or what have you. And I sort of came to a conclusion of a bit of both, but leaning more towards time played. And this was back before we found out about the rape company being the rape company. And I used Odyssey as the example, didn't I? Because I've
Hmm.
played, oh, how many hours was it? A silly amount of hours. Um, about 40 or 50 hours worth. I'm not that far through the game, but I feel I have the right to say don't play it because it's just full of rubbish. It's just full of filler crap. And I feel I have the right to say that because of the amount of time I've put into it. However, to flip the coin there, I've also managed to in games put a large amount of time in and not do anything and not be able to form an opinion other than, hey, I really like this section of the game. So it is one of those finely balanced bits. But
I feel like this is
I,
a huge discussion we should have on
I
recording.
would,
If
yeah,
nothing comes up this week, I'll do it for the podcast
fair. But
because I feel like there's so much to dive into there.
I do feel that I'm with you with that it doesn't deserve that much attention, and it really doesn't. It's just Bethesda as a whole seem to be doing things the wrong way now.
Hmm.
Where their business competence was with them showing actual TLC with their games. Okay, don't get me wrong, they've always been known as the glitchy company and they've lent into that, you know. And at first leaning into it is somewhat endearing because it's like, hey, they get the joke, excellent. However, I feel they've lent into it so much now that it's actually they're using it as a crutch, as an
Hmm.
excuse to not make a quality game now. And I'm somewhat interested in is it Starfield is what it's called, their next one.
Yep.
I'm somewhat interested because I like space games and be nice. However, as much as I'm interested, in fact, twice the amount that I'm interested, I'm incredibly cautious because it's only after having been let down from their sales pitch for Skyrim and then playing it did I realise that I just don't care for what they have to say because it's all going to be bollocks. And I'm instead going to look at the game when they show it, when they actually show something about it and not just cinematics. And it depends whether I'm unfazed or if there's a glimmer of hope. If there's a glimmer of hope, I might go out and get it. If I'm completely unfazed, I'm not going to be buying it. You have to get my interest even slightly for me to consider it now. And that's only because you have forced such a bad practice in making the games.
To paraphrase Skill Up, because when he did his amazing review on Fallout 76, he ended it. And to paraphrase him, he said, this is why I'm bringing it up because I echo it completely. I've gone from giddy with excitement for Starfield and Elder Scrolls to actively hostile. They have
Fair.
got so much work to have any hope, and it's so far off. I don't think they can. Like I understand some people still getting hyped for it. Like, oh my God, don't do not. You're looking at round about 5 years maybe for Starfield, and if you're incredibly lucky, 10 years for the next Elder Scrolls. Don't. All of the talent has left Bethesda. All of that talent has gone. They've moved on to other studios. It's a shell, and it's Bethesda in name only.
And I
Ignore them.
think we'll wrap it up there. I think we'll wrap it up with that because I think that's such an excellent way to actually describe and end it. It's just sad that it's not just Bethesda that are heading that way, and others have headed that way before them. I just, as a massive lover of RPGs, it's sad that I'm ending up feeling like this. So instead, I will look forward to Obsidian and CD Projekt Red and hope in vain, I reckon. But I will be optimistically hoping they don't go the same way. But yes,
Can I can I real quick tie it all back up in a nice bow?
go for it.
So yeah, a lot of companies are going that way. But one company that's been consistent for 20 odd years, actually closer to 30 years now, they've been truly consistent. Ubisoft. They've been consistent in their abuse of women.
And with that, we'll leave you with that. We'll leave you with that thought, and hopefully this discussion has brought some or shed some light on how some of the games feel, especially to us. Maybe they do to you, maybe they don't. Honestly, we'd love to hear your thoughts or read your thoughts technically, and we hope you enjoyed this week's Sunday show.
Go play Abzu.
Yes, go play Abzu and let us know what you think. We'll catch you next week in the podcast. Bye.